And what's going on, hockey fans? And welcome to episode number 80 of Marty's Illegal Stick Hockey Podcast 80. I can't believe this is actually it's a miracle. Yeah. Oh, boy. So anyways, we're recording here on Friday, June 3rd of 2022 at 4:30. A little bit different time for us, but between scheduling conflicts, sicknesses going around, you know what? We're going to take the week off. We said, nope, we are a hockey show. This is what we do. We make things happen. And sure enough, here we are. You said, I was like, yeah, let's just let it ride till next week. Look, I was trying to give you credit.
I know.
Here you just went and ruined it all.
I know. I couldn't help myself.
So, and for those of you who don't know, I'm Scott Kimball, and that other voice was my my trusty sidekick over here.
Yeah.
Our producer, Dave the Save Warner.
How you doing?
I'm good. You know what? Yeah, I watched a real interesting series over the weekend.
Okay.
It was about Theodore Roosevelt on the History Channel. Did you see that?
No.
Really, it was awesome. It really was.
I thought all you watched was hockey.
Well, every once in a while, I like to expand my horizons.
Okay.
You know?
Okay, yeah.
Anyways, so it was like one of those docudramas,
right,
kind of deal. And like apparently, like in the early 20th century, like the language was totally different. So I was thinking it sounded kind of fun. So like if somebody like gets you like in a like they're breaking your chop and they get you,
right?
Like the other person goes, "Oh, bully for you." So I was thinking maybe we ought to start incorporating some of that into the show.
I think not. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, well, don't you worry, I'll catch you.
Yeah, bring your boy in.
Yeah, I'm going to. And our co-host coming to us live via satellite from Annapolis, Maryland, here to help us unwrap everything that's going on in the hockey world, Mr. Drew Bray. What's happening, brother?
Can you believe it? Like we are here at it. The final round of the playoffs.
Almost.
And I know how hard it would be for you. We talked about it earlier this week. We've both been sick, but these games are amazing.
They are.
You can't take your eyes off of them for 5 minutes because something exceptional happens. Even my wife, who is barely a hockey fan, like you saw that McKinnon goal the other day, and I watched it live, and I'm like, honey, you have to come see this. Like,
yeah, right.
It's insane. Like this is in the playoffs. This is not like, some December Tuesday night. Like These dudes are doing it. It's awesome. This is the best time of the year for hockey. And I'm really, really glad that you decided to push through. I know you've been sick, but it's awesome that we're able to push through and talk about these games because these series have been absolutely bananas. They've been crazy to watch and awesome. I don't care if you're my team's out.
Yeah, me too.
I love it. I can't get enough.
It is. It's so true. Right. And I'll tell you what, this playoff especially has been like a gift handed to the NHL. Right? And now Final Four, you pretty much have the four now you got to say the most exciting teams in the league.
Yeah,
right?
For sure.
I mean,
my two
stories are nice.
Start were Colorado and Tampa. And I think that's still how we're going to go. But I love the road. The road there's been great.
Exactly. I mean, everybody loves the Cinderella story, of course. But, I don't think you can consider any of these four teams that are a lot of Cinderellas at all.
I don't
Maybe
know.
the Rangers.
The Rangers. I was going to say, yeah.
But you know what, though? I'm going to tell you something. I'll tell you this right now. I never bought into this whole thing this season about the Rangers, well, they're still in a rebuild. No.
You didn't buy that?
No, not one bit.
They don't look it now.
Listen,
though.
when you've got Artemi Panarin on your team, when you have Mika Zibanejad coming off the season that he had, when you got Adam Fox coming off a Norris Trophy win, guess what? You're no longer in a rebuild. You're a playoff contender.
You're not.
That's all there is to it.
Shesterkin either.
And Shesterkin,
this
was the year that he took over.
Goaltending is everything in the playoffs, but Shesterkin has been off the chain. Like he's been so good. And I think that he's one of those guys that I don't think everyone saw him coming as great as he is, in the pipes. I just don't think so. And I think, Scott, you're right that you name Zibanejad and Adam Fox and all these guys, but Shesterkin has just totally stepped up.
Well, he's been the difference maker, really.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's funny. I was going to ask you which series do you want to talk about first. Let's talk about this one since we're already on there.
I'm with it.
So to get there, Tampa Bay has actually been resting for quite some
9
time.
days.
You know that,
9 days.
right? And the Rangers were just coming off another 7-game series. And, I'll tell you, going into game 1, you had to ask yourself, okay, well, is it going to be the battle of the rest versus the guys who are, by the way, the Rangers are playing their second 7-game series in a row. And obviously Tampa Bay had some rust the other night. They were, I'll tell you, I thought they actually kind of kicked it off when they got those 2 goals. I'm like, oh, okay, Tampa Bay's, recovered. But then they kind of just, it looked like they lost a gear in their transmission. But you know what? Yep. But that's not just them. You got to give credit to the Rangers for putting the gas down on them. They really did. Oh, yeah. So that was not a symptom of just Tampa Bay blowing it. The Rangers played an outstanding game.
And the thing is, like, watching those goals that happened, they were not soft goals against Vasilevsky. They were moving the puck through the zone and then making crossing passes to take Vasilevsky out of the equation. I mean, they were flushing pucks into empty nets. Yeah. And that has nothing to do with Vasilevsky. It has everything to do with the way that the Rangers were moving the puck. And I was completely impressed. I don't think it's going to last because, I'll still pick the Lightning to come out of the series, but the Rangers were super impressive in game 1. Like they played.
But now you're going to do the Lightning in 7, aren't you?
No, not even 7. I think 6.
Really?
Although, I had the Rangers winning in 6 in the last round. So,
yeah. That's true. I mean, the thing is, too, with that layoff for Tampa, and listen, it's not an excuse at all. No excuses, especially at this time of the year. But when you're off for that long, it's the goaltending that gets affected the most. Because goalies are more than anybody. And listen, hockey players in general are creatures of habit. Yeah. But especially goaltenders. Right. And when you're talking about momentum and staying focused and because I'll tell you something, you can when you get that long layoff, which actually I kind of thought would be really beneficial for Tampa because they're kind of a veteran team. And they've played a ton of hockey over the past 3 years.
So you're saying that hey, Drew,
he played like 18. Oh, go ahead, Dave.
Oh, no, I was waiting. He's saying that the old guys needed the break. That's what you were translated into, that Tampa Bay.
I'm older than both of you guys. That doesn't count. So what I'm saying is that I just read some statistic.
Yeah, he met Theodore Roosevelt.
Had played like 18 straight series and won.
Yeah.
Like between when he played for the Blues and when he played for the Lightning.
Right.
Like it's really hard for me to buy into the layoff rest thing. Yeah. It's such a 50-50 throw up.
Right. Especially that long.
We said we talked about it before, right? Ruts and grooves. When you're in a groove, you're winning. If you're home, you're getting better, but you're getting healthier.
Right.
But it's really hard. And I think that Tampa's going to come back and hit really hard. I think it's going to be a great series in the East, especially because of that. Like, I think the Rangers are surging. Shesterkin is right now a god. Is he better than Vasilevsky? Vasilevsky's out. He's huge.
Yeah.
I mean, just physically, he's
honestly, Drew, I don't think you can answer that question for another couple of years yet.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I think you got to wait a couple of years. I want to see the full body of work, right? That's what I want to see. But the interesting thing is it's that layoff, right? If it was only like 3 or 4 games or days, I think that would have been much more beneficial for Tampa than it would have to be waiting over a week.
That's a lot.
Sitting there watching and waiting. So obviously the Rangers had momentum going. There was no if and or buts about that.
And playing like high stakes games, like those games against Carolina were so fun to watch. I mean, unfortunately for Carolina, their goaltending was.
Well, they didn't have Freddie Anderson.
I mean, I think Ranta's gone for 6 to 8 months or something.
Yeah.
With his knee, it's a bad. Yeah.
I wanted to ask you about that too. Let's just rewind just a little bit because watching that Game 7 in Carolina now, Carolina was dominant at home, of course, in that series, and they were pretty much dominant all year
Yeah.
But
The numbers were amazing. Like home
right.
versus road. Like,
but
that was crazy.
here they are, they're home. Game 7, got their home crowd behind them.
Needed.
And they didn't show up. I know they put a lot of shots on goal, but it was mostly perimeter shots. They didn't really put anything challenging in there.
Tips, yeah.
You know, I don't understand what happened there.
You know, I'll tell you what. It's the same thing. Like, this is why I thought that the Capitals should have beat Florida. It's the same reason that Tampa did, because they slowed them down in the neutral zone. I think the Rangers knew how to beat Carolina before they even drew the card. It just felt like Carolina had like some scary talent, some great goal scorers. The crease was questionable. And that's what Shesterkin gave them the advantage. Right. So, you know, these guys are running through, and to New York's credit, they pushed them to the sides, gave them bad opportunities, but Shesterkin won that series.
And I think you can easily say that.
It was an even close.
And really, when you look at it, honestly, Shesterkin won the Pittsburgh series for him too. And I will say this too, and I'm going to tell you this. I think that Pittsburgh series was the best thing that could have happened to the Rangers, because it forced them to deal with adversity. Don't forget, they were down 3-2 in that series.
I mean,
it forced them to reach down and find that other gear.
He was saying he couldn't believe how bad his team was playing.
Right.
But they did it.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. And especially playoff time, big stage time, you know, and it really take the bread man out of the equation. Where is the playoff experience on this Ranger team?
Kreider, I guess.
Pretty much not. Yeah, but I mean, all right.
I mean, Kreider. That's fair. I remember Kreider coming up and playing against the Caps when did he come out of? Harvard? Like,
no, Boston College.
Boston College. I knew he was in the Northeast.
Yep.
But yeah,
we were Ray City.
He came up and played like out of his mind.
Right.
As a kid, and he's been there ever since. So, to his credit, whether or not he's putting pucks in nets, he is giving that team an anchor, you know, to advance. Like, he is a legit, solid superstar in this league that may not get all the accolades, but he is a player. He's an anchor.
I think so. I think you're right, but I don't think he's a regular 50 goal scorer like he was this season. I'm not trying to take anything away from him, but over 60% of his goals were on the power play. So
who's a 50 goal scorer? Ovi? Who else?
Yeah, Austin Matthews.
Well,
Austin Matthews. Kyle Connor almost was.
David. All right, I'll give you those.
You know, but I think he's a solid 30 goal scorer every year.
Like Kopitar, same thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, well, Kopi's really not putting the goals in anymore like he used to. I mean, he's starting to kind of he's on the downside of his career. Let's put it that way. Still producing, don't get me wrong, but you know, I think what do you have? 25 this year, go with 60 assists, I think. But and did it quietly too. Did it really quietly.
He always does.
But I know what you mean. That's you know, a given.
Who's a superstar?
Right. And you know, the thing is too, I think, I don't know, maybe they'll learn a little something this season to promote even more of their superstars. Because and we'll talk about the other series in a second. But I mean, this is just my opinion. I'm kind of getting sick of hearing the same names over and over again. It's like there's other guys on the ice too. Okay, please. But let's get back to the Tampa Bay Rangers series.
All right.
So you think they're going to do it? Do you think Tampa Bay is going to do it tonight? Because they're playing at 8:00 tonight.
100%. I think that they're the team to beat. Like you said before, like we've talked about on this podcast before, is if you want to be the man, you gotta beat the man. And I think Tampa's got all the weapons, and they're scary good. Yeah. They're scary good. Like, they just go so deep. And, you know, we talk about, like, Shesterkin, who has been phenomenal in net, but, like, Vasilevsky has 2 cups. Like, this dude can play. So when you talk about backing it up, I think that it's really, really difficult to bet against Tampa Bay. And, you know, I think that we talked, I don't remember if it was on the podcast or just like we were texting, but like, even though my Caps beat Colorado is also scary good.
Oh,
I think that if
we're going to get to
those
that in a minute.
teams meet up in the final,
We're going to get to that in a minute.
Be crazy.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. But, interestingly enough, Tampa Bay is 18-0 in the games following where they've lost game one of a playoff series. 18-0.
Oh, that's wild.
So, yeah, that's very wild.
I hate
that. You know what?
Buzzsaw.
And listen, like I said, not taking anything away from the Rangers at all.
Right.
But don't forget round one. Round one when Tampa Bay played Toronto, and that was in Toronto, by the way. That's game one and game two. Toronto shut out Tampa Bay 5-0. Tampa Bay looked like they were skating in molasses. And that's when, then all of a sudden, that's it. They're done. The Tampa Bay dynasty is over, and we know how that worked out.
Right. But do you remember that I said before that series that I thought it was going to be a good series? Because I wanted to see the young Leafs take on the champs. And then I looked back at the stats, and then I saw that Tampa had shut them out like 8-0 and then like 7-1 in their last two meetings. So it was frustrating, and I think that Toronto's on deck. Like, I think that that's a good team that is set to advance. I just don't think that Tampa's ready to give up the throne.
No, of course not.
They're just too good. Too good. And it's almost frustrating to watch because they play against, Florida, 4-0. Like, they destroyed Florida.
Florida had no answer.
Well, and I knew it because I'd watched that Caps series so close. And if the Caps could have actually shut off the faucet like they should have.
Right.
But Tampa knew. And that organization is so incredible. I mean, I don't like that they're near us in Washington, but they are a phenomenal machine. And, kudos to them and the organization that they're building. And like you said, you want to be the man, you got to beat the man. I don't see New York doing it.
Well, here's the thing. So your Capitals actually provided the blueprint on how to beat Florida.
For sure.
And that was slow them down in the neutral zone, right? Which 100%. Is exactly what Tampa Bay did. The big difference between Tampa Bay and Washington was Andrei Vasilevsky versus Samsonov. Who would you rather have in net? Right. So exactly. there it is.
Yeah.
And I think that if Tampa Bay is going to beat the Rangers, the reality is they're going to have to do the same thing to the Rangers. Yeah, they're going to have to.
But the Rangers do have the
Rangers were flying. Yeah, well, that's the other thing too. Tampa Bay has yet to face. Listen, Sergei Bobrovsky is a great goaltender. He's got 2 Vezina trophies to his credit, but boy, he didn't look like it in that Florida Tampa Bay series at all.
Nope, you're right.
Oh my goodness. Oh, but you're right. But listen, that's not to say that Shesterkin can't be gotten to either. Pittsburgh did that to him. So but again, what a battle between 2 outstanding goaltenders.
Oh my goodness. It's so fun to watch, right?
But what I want to know, Drew, who's going to step up tonight? Who's going to be the one if you're going to tell me that Tampa Bay is going to win, who's going to be the one that's going to be the difference maker tonight?
I don't know. It's really hard because I hate them all. So
that's why he hates us so much.
God, he's got to die on us here. Hold on, Drew. Come on.
I really dislike Zibanejad, but I think that he could be the one that steps up for New York.
Okay.
And I also hate Kucherov equally as much, and he could step up for Tampa. And I think that Kucherov or Braden Point they're gonna be the ones that are gonna be difference makers. I think that
is Braden Point gonna play because he didn't play game 1?
No, I think he's coming back. I think he's day to day.
Okay.
But I think Kucherov or Zibanejad are going to be the ones that are going to be the ones who get the bounces. Like, I think that those guys work so hard and drive every shift that I think that, Vasilevsky's and Shesterkin kind of, I think, wash each other out, but it's about loose pucks. It's about getting to the net. It's about getting to the money-making places. And I think that
getting to the grease areas.
Yeah, I think Kucherov and Zibanejad get there, and they're going to be the difference maker. Whether it's tonight or the whole series, those guys are the ones.
Right.
I mean, they're going to be they're going to bring it. I think.
So I think you're right. I think Tampa Bay is going to tie this series tonight. And I say that with reservation, given how the Rangers played the other night. But that's a hard stat to go against, that 18-0 after a game one loss. But here's how I see how this is going to happen, right? Because to really beat a goaltender like Igor Shesterkin or even Andrei Vasilevsky on a regular basis, you got to take their eyes away. You've got to. You can't let them see everything.
100%.
And I think, and this is just a gut feeling, but I think what's going to happen is Tampa Bay is going to take advantage of the power play tonight. And I'll tell you who's going to take the most advantage of it is going to be Victor Hedman.
Oh, I would talk Stamkos, but that's all right.
No, I see Hedman for some reason, and I still think Alex Killorn is going to get a goal tonight. I don't know why. But it just seems like they didn't call his name much. And, yeah, I mean, of course, it's easy to go with a guy like Stamkos or Kucherov, right?
We've not even talked about Stammer. Like, no, I would argue that he established Ovi's office before it was Ovechkin's. Like, he made his career on that left dot, slamming home slappers on the power play, and we're not even talking about him at all.
No,
Steve's the captain.
I know, it's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean,
but there again, like I said, they haven't played in 9 days, so
yeah.
But no, I think
that team is.
I think you'll see a different team tonight.
Yeah, I think so too, and I think that depth has a lot to do with it. Like you said, like we can pick out 6 or 7 guys that are going to win, that are going to score, but can we do that for the Rangers? I don't think we can.
Yeah,
I mean, they're a talented team and they're super scrappy, but they're out kicking the coverage right now. They're doing great.
Well, here's the thing, like what I always said that the Rangers needed to do, and now they're finally starting to get it. They needed depth scoring because for the longest time, they were so dependent on Mika Zibanejad, Chris Kreider, and Artemi Panarin, and Adam Fox to produce their offense. But now you're getting, I don't know how long it's going to last, but they're getting goals from Filipino. Alexei Lafreniere has been pretty good in the playoffs. Even Capo Caco stepped up his line, that kid line they got going on.
He's doing work. Yeah,
so
for sure.
Andrew Kopp, Frank Vetrano. When you start getting scoring from your bottom 6 and your role players, that's usually a recipe for success. So that's another thing. But I will say this, though. Tampa Bay, more than any other team, I think, in the league, is outstanding at making adjustments. And you can rest assured that they're going to look at film from what happened in game 1 and go, oh, yeah, this is where we stuck our heads up our butts. Oh, there's another spot where we stuck our heads up our butts. We're going to fix this for game 2.
Man, and I mean, not to be like so super down on the Rangers, because I'm sure that a lot of your listeners are Rangers fans.
Believe me.
I think that bottom 6, I think that they're doing great, but I don't think it's going to last.
Drew, let me put it to you this way. After that game 1, I thought my phone was going to explode. I was getting so many text messages. Okay. Bing, 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 bing. Like,
mine was too, congratulating me on picking them for going in.
Well, yeah. By the way, hold on a second.
Here it comes.
Hold on a second. Nostradamus over here wants to. He's thrilled.
Did you guys get a delivery today?
Huh?
Did you and your wife get a delivery at the house today?
How do you know about that?
Did
you do that?
Yeah.
Oh my God, we were.
So what was it?
I kept arguing. Well, let's go to the first part. I can't believe you did that, Drew. You are one nut job.
No, you're a superstar, buddy.
All right. So what we're talking about is I picked the 4 teams that are now playing, right?
Right.
You know what he sent me? 2 big boxes of drumsticks, ice cream cones. And I stood arguing with the lady out there going, we didn't order these. And she said, but She says, you're 590 Gardner Street. I said, I know what my address is. I'm living here. But I said, I'm telling you, we didn't order these. And she said, well, then somebody did. I said, I have no idea who would do that. So we, Deborah and I are in the house today because we had to deliver the Mohawk Valley Express today. So we went to 40 something locations and we were exhausted just getting back before Scott got here. And we're talking about it going, well, maybe it was somebody who saw how much we were taking all the papers around today, and they thought we needed a treat. And I said, and then Drew, she was like, I have no room in the freezer for this. Because I told her, I said, put them in there. She's going to be back to tell us they belong to somebody else. And so, but we're trying to clear the freezer and put these. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Drew. No, hell no. I thought there were somebody else's.
Okay, so I was explaining this to Scott before. So there is this series that started in Canada called Letterkenny, and there's now a spin-off that is called Shoresy. And the inside hockey jokes in this show are incredible. So,
and that's on Hulu.
Right, it's on Hulu. And what they MVP win, they give them they call it a game stick, and it is a drumstick. But eventually, because everyone actually loved the drumsticks, the entire room ate them, and then they only gave the MVP his drumstick first. So Dave, you are getting the MVP drumsticks. So eat them and enjoy them and share them with your wife. You get a drumstick. Scott, you should probably have one too.
I was going to say, I better get one out of this.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to get you one,
I'll tell you what, but when you eat them, you'll be like, it takes you back. They are delicious.
I can't believe you did that.
You know what I want to see? I desperately want to see now is the video of Dave arguing with the delivery person. That's what I want to see. Yeah.
You have a Ring doorbell, right?
Yeah.
Next episode.
That's right. It's been recorded. Oh God.
There you go. Bingo.
But these, I didn't order these. But this is your address.
That's awesome.
I'm so glad that you got them.
I know it's my address.
And enjoy
that is
them.
Awesome.
Thank you so much, Drew. That is incredible.
You get the game stick, buddy. It's all for you.
Thanks. I appreciate it. Let's see if we can keep it going.
Yeah. Well,
100%. Yeah. All right. Let's go West Coast.
All right. Let's go West Coast. So Colorado and Edmonton obviously was going to be a very fun series right from the start. Two high-flying offenses.
14 goals in the first game in the playoffs?
For sure. This right here had to have been a dream come true for the league. Having Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl matching up against, Nathan McKinnon, Cal McCarr.
Finally, he's in prime time.
That's the whole thing, right?
30 at night. He was playing at 8:00 last night. Both of them.
Well, they finally got smart. They finally got smart and put those games on at 8, right?
100%.
But so game one was just a barn burner. I mean, and actually Edmonton came back because Colorado was blowing them out. Yeah. And then all of a sudden they forgot how to play defense. Darcy Kemper got hurt. So it ended up being a relatively close game. 8-6 was the final. What were your and I know this is cliche, but what were your thoughts on that offsides?
It's not cliche. Like, I have a really hard time with it because gun to my head, it was offsides.
You think so?
It just was. And I understand how the league is saying that he wasn't in possession of the puck as it came out. But, like, I mean, as well as I do, in beer league, that's offsides. I mean, it's an easy call. It's just like, it's over. But because it led to a goal, it became a big thing. And the league is trying, and like Tim Peel, the old ref, is like weighing in on Twitter. Like, oh, they made the best call.
He does that a lot, though.
And I'm just like, that's not how I was taught offsides.
Right.
It's just not. He was in possession.
In beer league, we don't have 17 different camera angles either.
Exactly. True.
Although you could,
Right.
if you just give me a call, but no.
Yeah, well, yeah, actually.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, he's already got plans.
Yeah,
it's
I do.
Just out of control.
I think we need some of that footage.
Yeah, well, you know what? I want to get you on the ice is what I want to.
I can skate.
Yeah, well, we'll put a GoPro on top of your head. You can follow me around.
Well, I would also say that in beer league that you actually probably have more officials because everyone on the bench is an official.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. No doubt.
Yeah, no, I think it was offsides. It's and if
I'll tell you,
league says it's not.
At first glance, I was like, oh yeah, this is a no-brainer, right? But here's the biggest problem that hockey has, and I've been saying this for a long time, and it just continues to exacerbate itself. They have overcomplicated the game so bad that it is impossible to make just a down the middle call because everything is so subjective now, right? And I get it with technology. Well, we can do this, we can do that. I get it. But here's the thing. When we were growing up, it was easy. It was either outside. I mean, there was we didn't have tag up, remember? We didn't even have that.
You also only had one linesman and one referee. And
you had the one referee too, but still.
Yeah.
Right. And it seems like even with two referees, they still can't get anything right. But which to me, it's a symptom. Right? It's a symptom, right? Because you actually have a lot of young officials in the league now that are trying to get their footing. And if you think the NHL is bad, you should see the AHL. It's the same thing. Right. But I mean, again, I can't put all the blame on the refs because number one, that is a job that I would not want for starters.
I will not take it. My wife asks me all the time, why don't you officiate younger leagues? I won't do it.
No, because but again, it's because they have overcomplicated everything so much. Now, technically, by the letter of the rule, that was onside. Yeah. Technically. So, yeah, it was obviously it was a bang play, of course. But here's what happens, especially at the NHL level, when you have 17 different cameras that have all this, I don't know, Dave, what the technical term is, for being able to zoom into the micro pixel or whatever it is they call it. I don't know. That's up to you.
Well, that's because they're shooting in a higher resolution. So that allows you to zoom in more because you've got more data to look at.
Right. So, and you know what? I try not to pay any attention to anything like that's on Twitter because you'll have people that are like cherry picking screenshots, right? And it's like, listen, you have to understand Toronto has many, 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 many different views than you have of this play. Okay. So yes, it was but here's my deal, right? Especially for like the Oilers fans that are still screaming about that call. They didn't mind Game 5 in Calgary when that go-ahead goal for Calgary got waved off with 3 minutes left on that quote-unquote kicking motion, which is another thing that they got to clean up. Well, they didn't mind that when that call went their way. So, you know what? Sometimes, I understand being upset, but it's over. You got to let it go.
You got to
there's another whole Pandora's box to open up. It used to be if it went off your skate and went in, no goal.
Yeah.
No goal. Remember that?
Yeah.
But now, so long as you don't make a distinct kicking motion.
Pitching motion.
Well, what's the difference between a kicking motion and trying to stop? Or
because you're stopping at the crease, your skates are turned, and if a puck hits them, it's always going to go in that direction.
Right.
Yeah, but it's the same thing with head hits. Like you can slow it down and watch
that
it
too
50,000 times. Like it's really, really hard. And this is again, I always want to reframe my opinion that I root for a team that has Tom Wilson. To be fair, every single head hit gets another look, and every single head hit that comes after that goes, well, if Tom Wilson did it, what would happen?
Jerry used to love that, by
the way. You see, Scott, this is why I'm choking and coughing and laughing. But the truth of the matter is, when you slow these things down, we've seen them even in the playoffs with the head hits. Like, it's really, really hard to call in real time. And that offsides that you bring up is a very, very corner case. And I've seen it before where the guy just taps the puck over the line, doesn't touch it until somebody touches up, but he's still technically, I would have said, in possession of it. So I would have called it offsides.
You know what I wish? You know what I wish? I wish we actually could see all the angles that Toronto has, because you only see a few of them.
Yeah, but I don't want to see.
You know would have been great, an overhead view of that play.
Yeah,
that would have been great to see just how far off the stick that puck was. That would have been out, which they probably had. They probably had that, but obviously you're not going to see that.
But I actually don't want that. I completely disagree with that. I want no angles. I want
I'll tell you something
in real time. That's it.
Right.
It's done.
It just and listen, I know like I'm the old man on the porch yelling at the neighborhood kids.
Oh, I'm way worse.
But you know what though? It just seems to me 20 years ago, whatever, it was just so much easier because you didn't. I mean, I'm all for having replay to make sure a call is correct. But when I think sometimes replay gets abused. Yeah. And to the point where it's closed everything down so much where we're going to challenge this. We're going to challenge that. We're going to come on. At what point?
Right. That's what I'm saying is like, I don't necessarily think that
because
for letting it like we're seeing it in baseball, like these horrific calls. Like, I don't want replay. Call it. It's done. No replay, no slow motion. No, I'm coming out of the zone. You know what?
That'd be scary.
Can you imagine?
It probably beats me more. I'm the old man. No more. I don't want to see any of it.
Well, you know what? A lot of it.
I see it, and I'm like, hey, it looks like it could have been offsides, but then I'm like, I don't want to see it. Just call it. Whatever you call on the ice is fine. Although, in that particular game, I did feel that Colorado was getting the benefit of the doubt in a lot of calls, and that happens. It's biased.
Yeah, but you know what though? Edmonton's also a very aggressive team. So sometimes you can also go to the well once too often with that. Really.
Did you watch it last night?
I did. But I just want to close with that. Right. But just want to close the whole replay topic that I do think sometimes officials will make the call that they know is going to get reviewed anyway. I think there's a lot to that. If like they're in doubt, like in football, right? Like, I'm just going to call it a touchdown because I know it's going to get reviewed anyhow.
Exactly.
And if I got it wrong, it's going to get called back. No worries. So I think a lot of that's crept into the game too.
Yeah. And I think that only comes with, you're right. I think that only comes with like experience in the league, and that you make a call and you just say, well, they're going to review it anyway. So
exactly. So what do I care? Yeah, we're gonna take a break for like 5 minutes. It's all good.
Very interesting perspective on that.
Well, Drew, there's someone that's on the line here watching the show live. Happens to be my son down in Austin, Texas. So he's got a comment here. He says it's all rigged anyway. So, which is, I brought him up that way. I said it's all rigged. Don't worry about it.
All right, now are you going to share any of your drumsticks with him? Are you going to send some down to him?
No. What he did was game sticks, bud.
Wait a minute. He got on here and he said, ask Dave about his ice cream modeling days.
Oh boy.
What?
You know what?
Took a weird detour.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what's his name? Does that say Jason?
It does. I knew you couldn't read it. Scott's got a 21-inch monitor here that.
It's terrible. That's why. Listen, I just want anybody to know who actually watches on the YouTube channel and wants to respond to questions because I can't see it. I got to get a computer for myself, like right here in front of me.
Yeah.
Because I'll go back and I'll watch like the replay for like edits and all that.
I know.
And I'll feel terrible. Like, oh man, this person was asking this. And I'm like, it's me. Yeah. Even if I had my glasses, no way.
As one day on my cell phone, a picture showed up and it looked like me on a Bluebell ice cream box, wearing a straw hat and everything else. And I swear it was my doppelganger. And my grandkids were just cracking up.
Dude, I cough when I laugh. Don't make me laugh.
All right. I won't do that anymore. I had the picture and
we need pictures.
I had the picture and it's gone because I lost it.
Yeah, right.
I lost it. I love that picture, actually. I mean, it makes it look like I was a model for Bluebell ice cream. I'm in on that.
Well, Jason, if you got it, please send it back.
Jason, text it to me again, and then I'll try and get it up next time.
Hey, send him some game sticks, Dave. You have a lot. Send him some.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, wow, we went from a weird turn to a really weird turn, and I'm just gonna.
Oh God.
But so let's get back to hockey, shall
All
we?
right, back to hockey. He's on a mission to find it, he says. All right, we're good.
So, yeah, Brett, you brought up game 2, which was last night. I got to tell you something. I expected a much better response out of Edmonton, and they did not have it.
I think that they were digging deep, and you're right. They didn't. I mean, Evander Kane was like chirping across the benches, and Darnell Nurse was trying to get in people's heads.
Yeah, well, I think the opposite happened.
Well, and McDavid laying the lumber to people.
Yeah, did you see that?
Like being an actual power forward. It just wasn't enough. I mean, Draisaitl's been kind of absent, which sucks for them.
Yeah, I think he's got a nagging injury because I know he got hurt in the LA series.
Yeah, but I mean,
still,
skill-wise, and maybe the injury has to do with it, but his hands have always been unquestionable. And I think that there have been times when there have been loose pucks that he could have pocketed or made a play on that he hasn't made a play on. And maybe you're right with the nagging injury, but McDavid has stepped up and played so super hard. But, like we talked about the first time I was on this podcast, Colorado is so fast and so good. And it's not through the neutral zone. It is in the defensive zone, and short passes in the defensive zone, and it is in the offensive zone. Like, those guys are doing work. They don't need the speed through neutral. They possess the puck. And like I said, earlier in the year, I was like, whoa, even though my team happened to beat them, I'm like, they're going deep. They're just that good. And they've not disappointed. And Edmonton, for all of their efforts and their personnel, frankly, they just don't have an answer.
Well, here's the thing, Drew. I think this series is just completely exposing Edmonton's lack of depth.
Yeah.
Right? So when you have Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl on your team, that can cover up a lot of deficiencies. It really can. And the fact of the matter is, LA and Calgary simply just could not keep up with them. I really thought Calgary was going to come up with a game plan to slow them down. They did. They didn't. Okay. Colorado matches up speed for speed.
Yeah. And
Colorado has a lot more depth. So, and I kind of think that Edmonton went into game 2 thinking, oh, well, Darcy Kemper's not playing. We've got Pavel Francouz. This game's ours.
I think so.
Well, guess what? Pavel Francouz was pretty darn good in that game. Got the shutout. Yep. And what people forget is that at one time, Pavel Francouz was actually on the radar for some as the goaltender of the future for the Colorado Avalanche.
Yeah, he was a first rounder.
He played half a season for him 2 years ago, and he played very well.
Yep.
So it's not as though Pavel Francouz was just coming in as some rookie coming out of the AHL. Okay, he's actually an NHL
stringer, like Carolina was trying to put on the ice.
Right. Exactly. So all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, this guy can play. No kidding. But like I said, to me, the complete and total lack of depth on Edmonton was totally exposed.
But I mean, even on the top, even top for top, I think that one of the things that was super representative of how I think that this series is going to go was McDavid doing his inline crossovers to speed by people, and then Makar poke checking him last night.
I know. Did you see that?
So I did. And I was like, wow, that just doesn't happen day to day. Those are two superstars going head to head, and Makar won that battle. It was
did you see too? Makar had to turn to catch him too.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Exactly. Right.
And that had to have totally caught McDavid off guard. Whoa.
If you watch McDavid, the way that he attacks is he looks at the defenseman's heels and see which way that he's turning. And Makar overcame that and still got the poke check. Yeah. It was really impressive. And I think that depth aside, even at the top, if you're putting out two guys and it's McDavid, as much as I think that he is McJesus, I think Makar is just bananas. I mean, maybe it's just his year, but I don't know. I'm on the Makar train.
Oh, there's no doubt. We've temporarily lost our video because I think Dave's doing something or other. But anyways, there we are.
But you just keep looking at the camera. You never had that monitor before.
So, but no, and you know the other thing too is with this series is that we can sit here, we can talk about McDavid and Draisaitl, we can talk about those guys until we're blue in the face. But everybody forgets Nate McKinnon's a top 3 player in this league too.
Oh,
it's almost like it's uncanny how it's been forgotten.
I mean,
here's the other thing too. And here's the other thing too. Nazem Kadri has stepped up big time in these playoffs. And really the scariest part is Gabe Landeskog and Mikko Rantanen really haven't done much.
No, they've been invisible.
They haven't done much.
Kadri, future capital, I'm just saying. Kadri is definitely going to be in the conversation for coming to Washington next year. But McKinnon is bananas. That goal.
Crazy.
Like it's just absolute full skill. Compare it to McDavid, any of his goals, like just cut through the defense. And who was it last night that cut through the defense for Colorado, didn't score?
Oh, that was JT Compher.
Yes. How about that?
Yeah. It was incredible.
Yeah.
And the thing is, too, if you look at the depth that Colorado has on, it's not just Makar.
No.
You got Devin Tays, who I still can't believe they got for 2 second-round picks.
Yep. And the physicality.
Bowen Byram, who appears to be over his injuries. Eric Johnson has been playing really good for them. You know, you got Josh Manson on your third pairing.
Yeah.
Come on.
I mean, that's when it gets weird, right? I mean, it's the only reason that the Capitals won the Cup in 2018 is that they had these depth guys who were having career years.
Right.
And I think that Colorado's in that mix. And I think that that's why I believe that Colorado's going to be Colorado Tampa.
Oh, yeah. Well, I definitely
I can't wait to watch it.
Definitely Colorado out of the West at this point. I think that, and obviously people were picking them as the team to beat. I mean, for some reason, you know what? I will tell you this. The Calgary Flames tricked me. I'm not happy about it. They fooled me. Love Daryl Sutter, but darn it, your team fooled me. I really thought that they were.
Love his quotes. But I thought that they could shut them down too. I don't disagree.
But they didn't, and of course, here we are. So the thing is, though, it's a great storyline either way, right? So Colorado makes the finals. Now, if the Lightning win, obviously it's the new superpower against the defending champs, right? Or if the Rangers get in, it's the two up-and-comers clashing to see who's going to be the new king of the NHL. So it's a fantastic storyline all the way around.
Well, after that.
Now, let me ask you this. Does Edmonton rebound in Game 3 at home?
I don't think so. Think so. And you know what?
You going for a sweep there,
after
Drew?
Seeing 2 touchdowns in the first game, I was like, is anyone going to play defense here?
Yeah, right.
Are we just letting people go and then we'll just time it out so that we have one more than you and last guy scores wins? It was terrible. But last night's game kind of brought things back into playoff perspective, and I just don't think that Edmonton is coming back. I just don't. Yeah, I think that they threw the entire toolbox at the game last night, and that includes the physicality with McDavid even throwing hits. And I loved Evander Kane chirping between the benches. It was awesome. I loved watching it. I just don't think that they have enough. And I think that, Evander Kane could be a game changer in this series just because he wants it so bad. He's been in the league for so long. And I think he provides an element of veteran. I don't want to necessarily say leadership because I don't think that he's a leader, but he's a guy that pushes all the chips in. He's going for it. He wants it. This is it for him.
Right. But be that as it may, I think Game 2 proved Colorado is in Edmonton's head, and especially a guy like Evander Kane who can't keep his temper under control.
100%. Helm is in
So,
there. Like, yeah.
If he doesn't calm himself down and get his head back in the game, it's going to be a very long night in Edmonton. Because you can't just keep giving power plays to Colorado. Whether you agree with the call or not, I get it. Frustration. But really, if you were, and honestly, Drew, I thought last night when Edmonton killed off that 5-on-3 in the first period, you recall it, because Colorado had like a minute and a half 5-on-3, and Edmonton killed it in pretty convincing fashion too. I'm like, there's the turning point. Like, we're going to have a tied series. And then Duncan Keith got away with one when he tripped McKinnon stupidly too. What were you thinking with that? He is so lucky they didn't call that.
Oh, yeah.
But that notwithstanding, I thought there's the turning point right there. That's what Edmonton needed. That confidence builder to get them back.
On the road.
In a hostile environment. And then all of a sudden, boy, did the wheels come off. Oof. Yeah. It's just relentless from Colorado. Relentless.
I mean, again, like we talked about at the top of the podcast, it is so fun to watch.
Oh, it is. It is.
It is. I mean, the first 5 minutes of that game last night were just just exchanging chances left and right, big plays, offensively, defensively, goaltending. It was amazing hockey. Like, that's why we're fans, even though our teams aren't in it. It's great. It's amazing. I love watching it. I can't turn it off. My kids hate me because I don't want to put them to bed and read them stories because I can't miss 3 minutes of the first period of these games. It's just
intermission, so kids. You got 10 minutes starting now.
Well, you were texting me last night, and like I'm reading Cupcake Diaries to my daughter. Like I'm actually following the game.
You bad dad. Bad dad.
I'm not, Dave. I am the best dad because I'm trying to instill into them how exciting
That's the right way to do things.
No, how important hockey is. That's what he's trying to say. And being a Capitals fan.
You're right. Although both of my kids asked me how the Caps are doing tonight.
Oh, jeez.
I was like,
no, we're not going to go on.
We're not
reading that book.
And so,
but I got to agree with you, Drew. I think it's Colorado here. I think Edmonton's going to win one at home.
They might.
I don't think it's going to be a sweep. I don't think it's going to be a sweep, but Colorado's too much for them. Just too much.
Yeah, and we talked about the days off stuff, but I also think there's something to be said for the travel stuff. And I think that, when you're playing in Edmonton or Vancouver or Calgary, like you're used to a pretty long travel schedule.
Sure.
Like just getting out and flying and getting home and the airports. And I think that we're very fortunate in the East where you have these clusters of teams that you're a train ride away maybe.
Right.
But I think that Edmonton certainly holds the advantage over Colorado. Although Colorado at home with the mile high and the altitude.
Yeah. A little something to be said for that.
Right. Maybe there's something to be said for coming down to, I don't know what Edmonton is at, like elevation wise. Maybe there's something. I mean, it's certainly
I just know that they're really, really up there as far as being north.
Yeah.
That's what I know.
And so, maybe they steal one or two at home, but I just think that Colorado has too much for them.
Yeah.
And I think that Tampa has too much for New York too. And I think that that's what we're going to see. It's going to be a great final. I think that even the conference finals are going to be great. I don't think they're going to be blowouts at all. Like I love the matchups.
Again, I think this has just been a gift from above for the NHL, and what's even better for them is that the NBA finals are going on right now. So in about a week's time, they're going to have the sports landscape almost to themselves, other than baseball.
Hey, Drew, Edmonton's 4,000 feet lower.
All right, so that's what 6,000 less than.
Yeah, they're at 2,100 feet.
But Edmonton's no joke. I mean, 4,000 is no joke. I mean, I think that in my neighborhood right here, as I look out the window, I think
you can see the ocean.
I think, no, it's Chesapeake Bay, but I think that we might be less than 5.
Yeah.
No,
I'm not seeing any of those altitudes.
Yeah, Edmonton's not at 4,000. They're at 2,100. They're 4,000 less. So a mile, 5,000.
Oh, yeah, mile, yeah.
They say 6,000.
Yeah, it's a big difference.
It's a big difference, yeah.
Yeah, it's a big difference and if you're an Oiler, like skating at those altitudes is definitely different.
I wonder if anybody's done a study about that, about, what kind of impact you're going to go research it.
I'm sure there has been, because there's been professional sports in Denver for how long?
Yeah. But I meant NHL wise, and
maybe
does that give you an edge against competitors?
Well, I'm sure it is.
Well, that's why the Olympic team trains in Denver.
Yeah.
You come down from that and your lungs are better.
Yeah. There you go.
But
so what do you think? Is it 5 games?
I struggle between 5 and 6. If Edmonton steals 1 or 2, it's possible. It's really hard from like a rooting and fan perspective.
Right.
Because none of these are my favorite teams.
Yeah.
I have Colorado going in my pools and my brackets. But yeah, Colorado comes out. I think it may go 6. No, 5.
Yeah, I think so too. I think Edmonton gets that 1 win at home, but it's real easy to cherry pick because they're up 2-0, right? Yeah, that's super easy.
Oh, yeah. Honestly, I would have said that, and we talked about this before on I think one of the previous episodes. I was like I can, it's easy to cherry pick, but I would have picked this the same way if Edmonton were up 2-0.
Right.
I just think that's the way.
Well, you would have been picking that Colorado in 5.
Yeah, I just think that's the way that it's going to go. Again, it's always worth a watch. It's not going to be a blowout.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. You will not be wasting your time. That's for sure. So normally at this juncture,
and that's partially who I think will win and who I want to win. You know what I mean?
Well, there's that too.
Because they're not my favorite team, but
yeah,
I'm rooting for my bracket. Too. Right. Exactly.
There's that too. Of course. Yeah. Well, my bracket's already destroyed, so I'm not.
McDavid, when McDavid comes to town in Washington, that is one ticket that of the entire regular season that when I go to Caps games, I want to see him play. He's great. I love.
Of course, yeah. Him. Absolutely.
I don't think
you know what? I want to talk about that because normally we would be going to commercial break, but we've only got 5 minutes left because the intrepid reporter here, Dave the Stave's got to get to a baseball game. So I want to close this.
Taking game sticks.
Yeah. He's probably going to try to sell them. You watch. You watch. He's gonna have his Carvel ice cream uniform on.
He'll be melted before I get
with the paper hat.
Yeah. I carry too much.
Are you going to Diamond Dogs?
Yeah. Diamond Dogs.
Oh, cool. Awesome.
Yeah. So let's close with Mr. McDavid. So there has been a lot of chatter since last week, especially with Andrew Ferentz, who used to be the captain for the Edmonton Oilers, put out a tweet saying that if Connor McDavid played in Wayne Gretzky's time, Connor McDavid would put 300 to 400 points up per season. So now, of course, the Connor McDavid bandwagon, he's a million times better than Gretzky. Look what he does, blah, 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 blah. What's your opinion on that? Is he better than Wayne Gretzky?
No. And you know what? The thing is, and I will say this, just after watching the recent broadcasts, clearly Gretzky is a giant McDavid fan.
Oh, yeah.
When you watch him and the way that he talks about the Oilers, he is a huge fan. That's number one. Number two, if McDavid would put up 300 points, how many would Ovi put up?
Right.
That's it. And that's only from a Caps fan. And I know that it sounds super biased, but yes, I'm certain that McDavid would put up more points. The thing is, even though McDavid puts up a ton of points, I don't necessarily, and I'll say the same thing about Ovechkin. I don't think that Ovi makes his teammates better. I think Backstrom does for the Caps. I think that he makes his teammates better. I don't necessarily think that McDavid does. I think that Draisaitl cleans up a lot of garbage, but I don't think that McDavid is saying that I don't think that McDavid is making Draisaitl a better player. I don't think that he's making Nugent Hopkins a better player.
Nope.
Great player, incredible to watch, great goal scorer. I don't think that whatever hockey Twitter says about backing up and saying that he was 300 points, I just don't think that's a thing.
Drew, I completely agree because, I've been saying this for a long time, right? So Connor McDavid is obviously a human video game. Hands down the most exciting player in the league. Hands down. Well, how long has Edmonton been trying to find somebody to put on his line that can play with him? The only one is Draisaitl, and that hurts the team because now you just took your second line center away.
He's siphoning off at the point.
It creates a depth issue is what it does, right? But the thing like with Gretzky is you hit the nail right on the head. He made every line mate that ever went with him a better player. Dave Semenko scored 40 goals on Wayne Gretzky's line. Okay?
It was garbage, right?
I mean, well, he was his enforcer, really.
Take a list of 40 goal scorers today.
The man who this show is named after. Look at how much better he made Marty McSorley.
Absolutely.
Right? So that's just a small sampling. And I'll tell you, even like a guy like Sidney Crosby, and I know you don't want to hear this, but I've said this 1,000 times. Sidney Crosby makes his teammates better.
I 100% agree. Even
so
though
there's
I
no
hate him as much, he is a great player who makes he made who is it? He's on the Caps now.
Zach Aston-Reese.
No, he's made everyone better. I do not disagree with that at all. And I don't think OV does. I think Backstrom, like I said, Backstrom does. But I think Crosby,
absolutely.
Crosby on the ice not only can score, but he makes whoever he's playing with, no matter how garbage they are, makes them into a scorer.
And you know, what's furthermore, I'm so sick of hearing this. Well, when Gretzky played, the goaltenders were only stood up and they smoked between periods and blah, blah, blah. But you know what? Exactly. I mean, put some of the equipment that those guys were wearing on the stars of today. Oh, and by the way, put them with the 80s rules where it was basically WWE on ice.
Right. Talking
no two-line passing.
Yep.
So, 100%. You know, the clutch and grab was a normal part of defense.
Yep.
Whereas it's, now it's obviously been eliminated from the game. And I'll tell you something further. I'm kind of actually sick and tired of the Connor McDavid, Wayne Gretzky comparison. I think the closer comparison, to be perfectly honest with you, if you want to just go player to player, I think it's actually closer to Mario Lemieux.
Yeah.
Because Lemieux was a much better physical player than Gretzky was. The tools, the wrist shot.
I know your love for Gretz. I know it. And I appreciate it. And I think
that's not a secret.
Also, and I just don't put McJesus in the same level. Like he's just not the great one.
Because here's the thing. He's had one great playoff so far. One great play. I want to wait. And this is why I think it's so stupid sometimes to compare current players to past players based on 1 year. Let's see what the body of work is, to be perfectly honest with you. All right? I mean, that's the thing. So
Mean Girl Hockey says Semenko was not garbage.
Yeah, I got to agree with that. I mean, I actually like Dave Semenko. The Moose. Yeah, but I know offensively, I know what you mean. I knew what you were getting at. Yeah, absolutely. He was clearly no offensive.
That many goals that are way higher skilled.
Right, exactly. And that's exactly what you meant.
Made him score.
Right. Exactly. But I mean, the thing is like with Wayne Gretzky, you could put a fire hydrant on his line and the fire hydrant's going to score 25 goals.
Right. You're going to bang the puck off that fire hydrant right into the top shelf.
That's all there's to it.
Every time.
So, yeah, like I said, to take nothing away from Connor McDavid, certainly hands down the most exciting player in the league, beyond a shadow of a doubt.
Love to watch.
But all this talk, let's wait a few years before.
It's not even going to be a few years. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, it may long term be Matthews that puts up the goals and challenges the record. And I mean, Edmonton has they've just buzzsawed through so many top round choices that have not panned out. And it's no discredit to McDavid, and it sucks to play in Edmonton when you're not Wayne Gretzky.
Right. And not only that, and I just want to before we close, I do want to say this, that, people talk about, nobody's dominated their era. So shall we say like Gretzky dominated his, whereas McDavid, as exciting as he is, still has comparables. Okay. But then the counter argument to that is, but look what Wayne was playing against. Yeah, let's look at what Wayne was playing against. Wayne was playing against guys like Dale Hawerchuk, Steve Yzerman, Pat LaFontaine, Mark Messier. The list goes on and on. Mario came along. So don't tell me he was playing against garbage, because he certainly wasn't.
No.
Absolutely not. He was playing against top flight Hall of Famers.
Yeah.
And he dominated.
And that got away with beating the crap out of him.
I know.
Literally smashing him with their sticks.
I know.
All right. Dave to save.
Yeah.
You have to go.
Yep. So
It's been
actually,
awesome.
before we go though, I think Dave's got
Okay.
something he wants to show us.
I don't know. Yeah, I gotta.
bud?
Yeah, give me a minute there.
Because I know he's so excited to show us this.
Well, yeah, I'm not excited about it.
I am. I want this to be. There it is. Oh, I can't wait. There it is.
I gotta pull it up here.
Here it comes. You're gonna love this, Drew.
It's gonna load
Wait
up,
for it.
Drew.
Actually, I want this to become the new.
Oh,
This is gonna be our new logo right here.
yeah. I see a little resemblance there.
That is him.
No,
That is him.
my grandson, I think it was the one that found that, my youngest one. And it's Grandpa. He's on the other screen. Oh my God.
Close enough. You guys have game sticks on me and my wife.
Awesome.
Both of you
Thank
and
you
your
so
wife.
much.
Absolutely. Thank
Go to
you.
Veterans Park. I miss it. I miss being there and seeing that. I met Lou Brock there one day when they were
Wow.
the
Nice.
Mets. I love that park. I love that you guys have baseball back and that Tommy John is sponsoring it. It's awesome. You guys go. Have a great night. Thank you for having
Absolutely.
me.
Hey,
But we can't go before we say that Barry wants to make a poster of that and put it up on the boards in his ring.
yeah. Well, I'm telling you, that's gonna be our new logo. That's our new logo.
Has to be.
I
don't want to just put, obviously, yes, in the Rink of Dreams. I want to get a billboard for that out on Route 5S now.
Oh God. Oh geez.
But Drew,
No,
let's do
Dave's
this
better
again next
looking.
week.
Dave, you're better looking than that guy.
I think I am. Hell
You
with
got it,
him.
bud. I love these
Yep.
series. I'm going to be watching wall to wall.
We'll definitely do this again next week. We'll see who's right and who's wrong.
You got it.
All right. Beautiful.
I'm in. Night, guys.
All right. Well, that's all we got because, like I said, we got baseball coverage we got to get to. But listen, everybody, thank you for listening. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, obviously YouTube. You can check us out at martysillegalstick.com. So for Drew Bray, for Mr. Bluebell Moobars over here, I'm Scott Kimball. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week on Marty's Illegal Stick Hockey Podcast.
Game sticks for the